Hello and welcome to the Falls Township Planning Commission agenda. We're going to start by saluting the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, we're going to start off with a roll call. Member Binney.
Ms. Levichuk.
Present.
Brian Binney's present. Vice Chairman Henderson.
Present.
And Mr. Haney and Mr. McTeague are not with us this evening.
All right, we're going to start off with item number 1, Falls Township Municipal Building Renovations, 188 Lincoln Highway, Fairless, PA 19030. Tax map parcel 13005003. Waiver of Land Development, Building Additions and Site Improvements. All right. Start.
Great. Good evening. Okay. Good evening, everybody. Thanks for coming out tonight. We're very pleased to be here to present the project to the commission. It's probably a submission that you already kind of knew about coming in the door, and it's the building that we're all in and been living in here for a while. What we're going to do is give you a highlight, overview of the plans for the project as they exist right now, and they're continuing to be developed. But the site plan has been developed to a point where it made sense to come in front of the board. We are familiar with the building. It's the building that we're in. We're renovating this building. We're going to be retaining most of the structure, and then we're going to be recladding it, and then we're selectively adding on to the building. Let's just, plan north, and it really pretty much is north on the plan as well. To walk you through the site, it presented some challenges in terms of what's the front of the building. And, we worked closely with administration and the Board of Supervisors up to this point. We've kind of been on board for probably about 2-3 months right now, working closely with the group. And this is the plan that is generally receiving some really positive feedback from everybody and looks like the direction for the development of the site plan. We all know the signalized intersection is remaining the same. So you're going to still have the main Boulevard Drive. That remains in place. So let's kind of like walking around and starting from the outside in on the site plan. At the far left side on the west, the curb cut opening for the police, which is currently blocked off, that's going to be reopened so that under emergency situations, the police can get off the site quickly. So we are looking to keep that curb cut, but reopen that. That'll probably be a gated, a controlled, access to the site. So really only police and other, emergency personnel can access, get in, get out, to be carted. The main Boulevard Drive will still be the main entrance to the complex. But then you also see there's been a public access drive developed at the southern point of the site, which is also providing another kind of emergency egress point for police in a situation where they need to get off the site quickly, and that's connecting to Lincoln Circle. So that's kind of like the outside perimeters. Much of the approach to the parking has kind of remains the way that it is now, because the police in general are remaining in their current location in the building. DPW is remaining in their current location inside the building, and then it's really all of the other administrative departments, code enforcement, finance, Parks and Rec that are moving about, and we kind of reshuffled the deck in our manner of speaking to locate the departments internally. To really increase efficiencies, just improve circulation, et cetera. And if we get to the point of looking at the architectural plans, you'll see that. Now, coming further into the site, you come down the Boulevard Drive. We're creating that and then having that connect to the new public access drive at the south part of the site. So then everything really is essentially, as you're coming off of Lincoln Highway, everything to the right is going to be the municipal complex. To the left, what we're starting to develop, and we're looking to really further and have another nice amenity to kind of finish off the entire campus, is a park-like setting, which currently shows like a stormwater basin on the other side. So the intent is to have the entire parcel developed That's kind of ongoing, those design, options and things are being studied right now. But eventually, the entire campus is going to be developed, so it's comprehensive, when we're having the ribbon cutting for the building. The approach to the parking, and quickly at a high level, the parking, we are meeting the numbers required by ordinance. We're actually exceeding them so that we have a little bit of a buffer over what's required. As some of the stormwater design gets a little bit further developed, we may lose a couple, but we're still at a surplus right now. So we expect to continue that surplus. So walking around call it the parking strategy. The area, and it's going to be.
You can take that microphone
Yeah, I got it. There we go. I hate hearing my voice on microphone. But let's walk around. I'm going to talk to the board here. Can you time that? Hit that, Jim.
There's your computer shut down.
Did it?
Oh, no. It's back.
No, it's there. Okay. So as you enter in the access drive, it's going to be handled in a similar manner where the public is going to be encouraged to go to the building, and then call it, township-only traffic would continue down the main boulevard. So the public will be directed to the right towards the building, and then the parking that you see wrapping and kind of heading back towards Lincoln Highway and wrapping around. That's really what we're anticipating for police business and for employee parking. So the new more prominent entrance for the police is actually going to be like this angled bump that is near this circular turnaround. The circular turnaround is going to feature. It's probably going to be like a monument type of an amenity, Commonwealth flag, American flag, Township flag. So this is going to be the very civic, very public-facing presence for the building. It's also going to be the direct entrance to the police, and it's also going to be for employee entrances as well. So this is the kind of challenge you can imagine from the architectural side, where we have the building is fronting Lincoln Highway, so you'd think that should be the building front. Well, we're treating it as the front for some of the aspects of the building, but most of the public interface is really happening on the inside of the property, where we're developing a new prominent entrance for the public here off of kind of like in the L, kind of like the door that we all come in right now, coming here to the, that's really going to be the main new front door to the building. And that's where then all of the parking that you see south of that, that's really going to be dedicated to the public. So so we're trying to kind of isolate logistically where the parking is located so that it works with how the building is laid out. So the area to the south is the public parking. What you see with a slightly different hatch configuration graphically is where we're going to have some nicer site amenity plazas. On the north side of the building, one of those is associated with the police entrance. The other one here that I'm pointing to is associated with an employee staff break room that's on the inside of the building, so that function can kind of bleed out into the outside. Because one of the critical points from the supervisor's perspective was to increase the viability and pleasant atmosphere to have it be for staff. So, and then on the south side is going to be really more like the main public plaza area, welcoming, very just that very open landscaping, nice paving, an uplifting experience for the entrance to the building. What you see in two different tones, the main tone of the tan is kind of like the existing footprint of the building, which we're all familiar with. It's very uniquely configured, let's say. So we needed to kind of obviously work with that and then make sense of that. But in going through the process with staff in terms of developing their needs for the future, not only for now, but for the foreseeable future, we needed to expand the building. And it really is actually spot on with what everybody thought that the building would be at the end of the day in terms of its size. It's a little bit over 60,000 square feet. So the existing building's a little bit over 50, it's 52-ish. So the balance of that is made up with additions. So the additions that you see indicated, in kind of like this other, brownish tone, those are the building additions. So there's two-story additions. That's where the main entrances are going to be, and then there's really two one-story additions, which is more over on the police side of the building, which, as I said before, remains the police side of the building. Another site feature is a wall to contain and protect the PD area. That's what you see in kind of like the boulder line. Again, access control points so that that's secured all the time. Then immediately to the south of that is the DPW staging area, DPW parking, et cetera, for vehicles staged, waiting to be serviced. And then, like I said before, the public parking areas on the kind of the southeast, in the southeast area. There's a placeholder there for potential storage building down the future. That's really not part of this immediate project. It's just that. It's a placeholder for something just down the road that may be, that was discussed as a potential need down the future, but the exact needs of that have not been defined or really discussed. Okay, we don't need the pop-up. So from a site perspective, and we are going to be, working to develop the landscape a little bit more. Really, what you see right now is just kind of it's more of an indicator of where we're going to have impervious surface and where we're going to have green space. That may be further developed as we start to look at things like rain gardens and stormwater management and some of those things. So like some of the green strips between some of the parking spaces may grow a little bit, larger to handle some of the water quality issues that we want to address. From a site perspective, did I get it? I think I got it.
Got it.
Is the police parking getting closer to the west, to the residents?
We held the existing pavement line, and so we're going to defer to the zoning officer as to whether the introduction of the wall would trigger a variance because it's in the buffer yard, but it's an existing condition.
Yeah, I think there's a couple of pre-existing non-conforming,
Correct.
Conditions with regards to the site. We were sensitive to the 100-yard setback on Lincoln. The two-story space is matching that line. The one-story areas are, kind of recognizing the existing non-conforming condition and just, following it effectively.
Are we replacing the elevator?
Yes. Yeah, the entire building, it's really kind of being scraped to the bones. The structure is being retained. We're selectively removing portions of it, to make the new architecture work. The envelope, the masonry envelope, is in sound shape. We're going to be, again, selectively removing portions of it to introduce more light, more windows into the building. But like architects like to say, it's got good bones, and it does.
The zoning chart doesn't indicate whether we're increasing our impervious surface coverage or whether we're increasing our maximum building height. It doesn't say whether we're in compliance with that or not.
Yeah, I can answer that.
Yeah.
Mr. Benny, the impervious is under the threshold for a variance. We checked that, but we'll populate the table. In terms of the building height, we weren't sure where that landed, but there's going to be a thorough zoning review. I think we inadvertently identified a variance that we don't need, and that's the wall in the setback, because we've been interpreting that 209, or at least I've been told to interpret the 209-34E, I think, for fences and walls, that's going to be handled under the fences and walls section of the ordinance, and it doesn't preclude it from being in the front yard. So I believe that variance is off the table. The impervious will be compliant, and it'll be up to the zoning officer in terms of the wall and the buffer and the building height when the architect identifies for us whether that exceeds.
Is that wall the main reason why you're requesting a waiver for land development for the entire?
We're not, that's incorrect. It's the waiver of land development is a process. We're not requesting a waiver from land development. It's the process by which a project can move through land development without the need for a developer's agreement after it's approved. So you've seen multiple waivers of land development come through that have a record plan. It's a less, I'm not gonna say less thorough, it's just a smaller part of the subdivision and land development ordinance is subject to a waiver of land development. So there typically aren't waivers, although there have been in the past, for street trees and things that fall outside of the plan content. So if you look through the waiver of land development, you'll see it's a process and it's an abbreviated review for projects that don't require secured financial security. And it has to meet the threshold to qualify for a waiver of land development. That's a certain percentage of the building. So this may or may not meet that. We just had a project last night at the supervisors for the municipal authority that had a building that exceeded the waiver of land development criteria, but since there was no public improvement requirements, they processed it as a waiver of land development. So the short answer to your question is no.
Okay.
Because also in many ways, we are seeing it when we, when we think down the road to like the building, code enforcement review project. It is a building addition, it's a building addition project in a manner of speaking. So, so much of this infrastructure is already in place. As I said, it may be a little bit of restriping, but the way that it's configured right now very much mirrors this. And actually, in some areas, we're introducing more green. Like the DPW parking area. We're introducing more green over there than exists now.
So you don't intend to go outside of that? You intend to keep pretty much the bones of everything and not go outside of that?
For the existing building?
For this project, for this?
This is the plan that we're
working on.
that we're working
Okay.
with, yeah, absolutely.
And it's a bit of an expansion. You'll recall like on the main entrance, it curves around on the building, and so we've straightened it out. So there is an increase in impervious surface for everything you see to the right of that. But as Mark had indicated, that there's more green being introduced into the areas to the left of the building as you're looking at it to offset some of that. And we will seek and obtain an NPDS permit since the disturbance technically will be over an acre. And so that'll all be flushed out through that permit process. The stormwater management will be reviewed by the Conservation District for NPDES, and we're designing it the same way. We would let any applicant with a similar project qualify under a redevelopment. And in the redevelopment, and I'm gonna get a little bit in the weeds with you, but a redevelopment project, you don't have to turn everything back to meadow and provide stormwater management and volume control for all that. You only have to take 20%, and this dovetails right in with the NPDES requirements.
Okay.
Is there any other questions?
Not for that, no.
All right. Good.
You want to take a brief tour?
Do we have an
ahead.
idea of what it's gonna look like?
We're working through that with the supervisors as we speak. We're certainly going to be introducing a substantial amount of glass to brighten it up, lighten it up, make it more welcoming. I mean, it's not, we all know, it's not very friendly from the curb right now. So we are going to be brightening it up, introducing more contemporary, there'll be some wood tones. It'll be, warmed up. That's part of our marching orders in terms of making a warm and welcoming building, something that you feel uplifted when you arrive on site. We are working through those things as we speak.
I saw on the floor plan that it still shows a car door out front there. It's not that, is it?
We're improving upon that, yes. The circulation flow is going to remain, but it will not look like that. And you won't have to put your coat on to walk through it.
Or be lambasted by the heat during the summer?
And that on the east side of the building, that probably gets blasted in the morning. Yep. Definitely, all new glazing systems, it's gonna look like a brand new building at the end of the day. New roofing, completely re-roofed.
Well, you said you're ripping it down to the steel, right?
The metal deck, like from the roofing perspective, the existing roofing materials coming off, all new roof everywhere. For the exterior walls, a lot of the masonry that's there is in very good shape. We're basically building in front of it.
Okay.
So we're reskinning the building. I mean, because that masonry as a kind of like a backup and an inner shell is solid.
And there's no modifications to the public works staging area, parking area. We're not getting closer to the residents.
That all remains the same. All the infrastructure that's down at the bottom where like the salt dome is and all those structures it remains status quo, we're not going down there.
That's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
All right.
Yeah.
Is there any public comment? All right.
Yes. Did anybody zoom in?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, did anyone zoom in?
No public comment online.
All right. It's the pleasure of the board.
Yeah. I'll make a motion to recommend approval of waiver of land development for Falls Township Municipal Building Renovations, tax parcel 13-005-003.
Member Benny, can you pull the board?
Somebody's got a
Oh,
second.
sorry. Can we get a second?
All right, I'll second it.
Mary seconds it.
All right. Now, Member Benny, can you pull the board?
Ms. Leschuk,
Yes.
Mr. Henderson,
No.
and Mr. Binney's a yes.
Thank you.
All right.
All right, now we're on to item number 2, minutes from October 25th. Excuse me. I do have one adjustment on here. In the, I guess it would be the 4th paragraph, where, on the 3rd sentence where it says Harsco recycles the coal and copper slag, can we change that to crushes? And then the second one, when they, the second time it says recycle, I believe that one can stay. Because it goes in and out of the port to repurpose it and recycle. So, just that, the first recycles on the 4th paragraph should,
I got it.
is everyone okay with that?
Yep.
All right.
Yeah.
Do we have a motion to approve the amended minutes?
So be it.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right. Motion to close the meeting?
Second. Or, I move.
Aye.
So move.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, thank you.